So if you're a parent, you know that trying to guide your teen through the world of social media can feel, well, impossible sometimes. Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful new way of thinking about this. It's all about shifting from being a police officer to being a coach. So let's just dive right in. I think every parent knows this exact moment, right? You're sitting there and you feel kind of frozen. You could crack down, start a fight. You know that path leads to conflict. Or you could try to find a more supportive way forward. It's a real tug of war, and it feels like one choice makes you the problem and the other makes you the coach. So why does it feel so hard? Why is it such an intense struggle? Well, it's because parents and teens, you're both caught in what is frankly an unfair fight. This is not a level playing field, and once you understand that mismatch, everything starts to make a lot more sense. And here it is. This slide really breaks down the core of the problem. On one side, you've got the teen brain. It's literally still under construction. The part that craves rewards and approval from friends, that's running at full power. But the part for self-regulation and impulse control, that's still developing. And what's it up against? The other side, a powerful, intentionally designed engagement loop. We're talking infinite scroll, nonstop notifications, algorithms built by experts to hook them in and never let go. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you actually got to the end of your social media feed? Right, never. These platforms are literally engineered to remove all the natural stopping points. Autoplay videos roll one after the other, notifications buzz constantly, the feed goes on forever. It's all designed for one single goal, to keep you on the app as long as possible. That is a feature, not a bug. And this right here is maybe the most important takeaway. If you're struggling with this at home, it is not a sign that you're a bad parent, and it doesn't mean your kid is weak. It's just a sign of incredibly powerful, effective product design. Asking a teen to just turn it off is like asking them to win a race against a sports car on foot. Once we shift the blame from our kids to the design, we can start finding real solutions. So when you realize it's an unfair fight, you also have to realize the stakes are pretty high. The effects of this constant engagement aren't just theoretical. They are real, documented harms that are impacting our kids' well-being in a serious way. Let's just zoom in on one specific example that came to light a while back. This is from internal research on the impact of Instagram, specifically on teenage girls. This gives us a really clear window into how some of these harms actually work. So first up, there's something called the bad day trap. Here's how it works. A teen is feeling down, maybe insecure, so they open the app to get a little distraction. But instead of helping, the algorithm can actually amplify those bad feelings. It creates this downward spiral of comparison and anxiety that leaves them feeling even worse than when they started. And then there's what's been called the body image tax. And the numbers here are, well, they're pretty staggering. For almost 1 out of every 3 teen girls who already felt bad about their bodies, the platform made them feel actively worse. That's not a small thing. That's a direct, measurable blow to their self-esteem. And look, this isn't just about one app or one single issue. The harms are widespread. We're seeing patterns of addiction-like use, kids losing serious amounts of sleep because they're scrolling all night, rising anxiety from constant social comparison, and even pulling back from their real-life friends. That is a heavy, heavy load for a brain that's still developing. Okay, I know that last part was tough, but defining the problem is half the battle. So now, let's talk about the solution. Let's talk about how we can build a much better, more effective path forward, one that leaves conflict behind and moves us toward coaching. When we sense there's a problem, what's our typical gut reaction as a parent? It's usually some combination of these 3 things, right? We monitor their activity, we restrict their access, and we interrogate them about what they're doing. And look, it comes from a place of love and protection, but it almost always leads to more conflict and just drives a wedge between you and your teen. So here's the pivot. This is the whole idea in a nutshell. Instead of monitoring, we're going to coach. Instead of restricting, we're going to support. And instead of interrogating, we're going to connect. Now, this isn't just swapping out words. It's a completely different mindset, a fundamental shift from control to collaboration. This new approach actually has a name. It's called social media harm reduction. And don't let the fancy term throw you. The idea is really simple. It's basically a public health approach. We don't just tell kids to stay away from the deep end of the pool, we teach them how to swim. This is the same thing. It's about giving them the skills and the knowledge they need to navigate this digital world safely. Okay, so you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but what do I actually do? What does this look like at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night? Well, let's get into it. This is your practical, actionable social media first aid kit. It starts when you just notice the signal. Maybe your teen is super irritable after being on their phone. That's your cue. Then you check in, but not with an accusation, just with curiosity. Hey, how are you feeling right now? Then you demonstrate the pause. You show them it's okay to just step away for a minute. The next step is helping them name what's happening, to actually put a word to the feeling, like, I'm feeling really anxious about that group chat. From there, you help them decide what matters. And finally, you explain how small adjustments, like just turning off notifications for an hour, can make a huge difference in how they feel. And here's the real magic in all of this. This whole method is about building internal skills. You're not just handing them a list of rules to memorize. You are teaching them one of the most critical life skills they'll ever learn: how to pause, how to reflect, and how to regulate their own emotions in a world that is practically screaming at them to react. When you lay it all out, the choice of which path to take becomes pretty clear, doesn't it? The risks of the old way are obvious. Emotional distress goes unnoticed, you miss the warning signs. But the benefits of this coaching approach, they are so powerful. You'll be able to recognize stress better, you'll build real resilience in your kids, and you'll actually strengthen your family's connection. So in the end, it really just comes down to this choice: the old path of conflict and control, or this new path of coaching and connection that empowers both you and your teen. So now that you have the tools, which path are you going to choose?